It's insane. We are in the midst of the most extraordinary period of technology ever, and you're in the thick of it.
Our mission is to build a foundation to activate humanity's potential. I believe is a necessary but not sufficient condition for aligned artificial intelligence. And again, my focus is not building an AGI. It's about seeing how can we lift up all the humans. Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about dreaming big today. Is everyone here dreaming big? I hope so. I think on the other side of dreams, there is fear, as kind of was just mentioned. There is hope, there is fear around all of this because it can achieve so much, but we're uncertain about what's going to happen. I have a dream that all of the medical knowledge in the world will be accessible at our fingertips. Everyone has their own doctor. For those of you that have had people with multiple sclerosis or dementia, cancer, that affects 50% of us, you should have all the information at your fingertips. We look at our schooling systems, and they're not really fit for purpose. They're like childcare, mixed with social status games, mixed a little bit with a Petri dish. I always get a bit sick when the term starts. But it's not through want of all the amazing people working on these. We need to figure out how to amplify their abilities to give ourselves, our children, and everyone what we deserve, what they deserve. And I think this technology can do that. At Stability, we are located above a chicken shop in West London. A real British success story. We've got 200 people, hundreds of millions of funding, billion-dollar valuation, competing against trillion-dollar labs. And we created some of the most advanced frontier models out there. Stable Diffusion, you just saw some of the examples there from release a year ago, in collaboration with partners at Runway, CompViz, as an example, made 15 billion images, the most popular software in the world by some metrics. We have audio models, video models, and more, leveraging the hundreds of thousands of people in our community because we are open, and we believe in open, and this technology going to everyone. The people that contribute range from 15 to 65. The technology is available to all of you today to download on your laptop. You don't need permission. You can build, and importantly, have agency. Because a lot of the questions around the fear of this technology are that we don't believe that we can do anything about it. But everyone here can do something about it and have a say in it. We can take the language models, the code models, the image models, and then build systems around it and think to the future and dream where we can be. In fact, we can even take fMRIs. We did a study led by Tanishq, our 20-year-old head of medical, with his PhD, where we took fMRIs, looked at them, and reconstructed what people thought via Stable Diffusion. Stuff that was science fiction is now a reality and coming fast. I think we've all seen language models and others able to help us draft text. Image models can turn our words into images. I'm delighted today to announce Stable Audio, the first commercially licensed audio model in combination with AudioSparks. It's early stages. It's diffusion-based, similar to Stable Diffusion. But this is the presage of another building block for what will be a creative future where you can create anything you can imagine and you can communicate anything you can imagine. Now, this is scary because if you can create anything, what if you can create bad things? What about the whole discussion around AGI, artificial general intelligence? I think that's a bit of a canard. A lot of the safety discussion is around what if this kills us all? What if it isn't fit in a certain way? Instead, what I'm interested in is not artificial general intelligence, but amplified human intelligence. What can we do with this technology to amplify our capabilities, to solve our broken systems? Our systems in themselves are like AI, slow, dumb AI that grounds us up and makes us frustrated. Again, not through the efforts of the people that are in it. There are so many hardworking doctors, lawyers, politicians, others, but we face the frustration every day of, for example, me coming along and saying, am I going to make a presentation with lots of slides? And realizing, no, PowerPoint is still sucky, you know? It's painful. Because the easiest way for us to communicate has always been like this, through speech. Then we had the printing press, we could capture our words on paper, but we lost a lot of meaning. With the technologies we have today, we can take our words and transform them. We can create visuals that are unlike anything we've ever seen, that are resonant because they come from humanity. Right now, they are trained on the whole internet. We are moving to better embedded data sets now that are synthetic. At Stability, we're offering opt-out and transparency around these, and trying to implement standards so we can innovate with integrity. So we can create the building blocks that the community and others can take to build the systems that will be the future of amplifying our organizations, that remove a lot of the fear, frustration, and friction from getting really valuable things done. And the pace of this is unlike anything we've ever seen, and I think that is what makes things so fearful. When we are faced with a stable condition, we think, what is the future? It looks a bit like the past. And we can go and we can look and say, I think I'm going to make a prediction based on that. None of us here know what the future is going to hold because this technology is moving so fast. We just know the future will be different even if it stopped today. So we think to futures whereby this can run rampant. We think about representation and a lot of these other questions. But we believe only a few people can really understand this. I think at Stability, we've shown, competing with trillion-dollar companies and outcompeting thanks to the strength of community, thanks to the strength of open. It doesn't need to be that way. Again, everyone has agency. If you don't have the expertise, get some expertise, or work with people that do have expertise. The reality is these models are not as complex as is made out, but they are hard to build. You do need supercomputers. Our supercomputers are 10 times faster than NASA's fastest supercomputer or the fastest supercomputer in the UK, and they're getting faster. Our talent is from all around the world, from Vietnam to Birmingham to everywhere, working across modalities. Our community literally is worldwide, and it's growing from hundreds of thousands to millions. But the outcome of this are these amazing models. And what is a model? To take Stable Diffusion, we took 100,000 gigabytes of images, almost 2 billion, and we worked to put it into a supercomputer that figured out all the interconnections between words and images. It deconstructed them down to their essential parts, and then through physics-based processes, reconstructed them. So you push words in, and images come out. GPT-4 took maybe 10 trillion words, and the output was a 100 gigabyte file. This isn't compression as we know it. This is similar to the human mind. When you're listening to this speech, it's only valuable if you take away something from that. That is the essence of the entire of information theory by Claude Shannon. That is the core of computer science. Information is valuable only as much as it changes its state. Classically, our AI took big data and extended it out to service ads and other things through these big centralized intelligences that we saw. And sometimes we over-optimized. We see that through a lot of the ills from social media and others that put us into our boxes, that increase polarization and others, because it's just one algorithm for everyone. These systems required huge server farms. But now you can run a ChatGPT level experience. Our stable Beluga model was the first open model to achieve that level on your laptop. You can run Stable Diffusion on your laptop without permission. Intelligence is becoming distributed and moving to the edge, and the implications of that are immense. Right now, it's like a very talented, eager grad, and so a lot of the discussion and debate around it is a little bit unfair. You can't expect that much from your grads, you know? Like, do you expect it to be the best painter or the best doctor or anything? The goalposts are shifting. Hallucinations, as are described, are not appropriate here. It's magical that you can take 100,000 gigabytes of images and have a 2 gigabyte file that can generate any image. It's magical that GPT-4 can pass the bar exam, medical license exam, and others with 10 trillion words into 100 gigabytes, or Stable Beluga down into 10 gigabytes. This is something new, and they're not programs as we know it. Tesla just replaced 300,000 lines of C++ with a neural network trained in this way to drive self-driving cars like we've never seen before. And that is the future. The future is that we have these grads and they grow up and they become our co-pilots. It isn't a future of a Terminator or a Skynet or anything like that. And in fact, I think that's a very boring way and focus to do it on. Again, artificial general intelligence versus amplified human intelligence, I would bet on the latter any day, because it's something that we all want, and it's something that we should all be a part of. A lot of the safety debate is focused on the big companies and saying they're the only ones that can do it. But we have proved that's not the case. When you start using the technology, you realize that you have agency, and I think this is the core to that, because you have these pilots to help you. Open models are ones that you own that you can put your own private data into. Every government-regulated industry and private data will run on open models, transparent models, because you cannot run on black boxes when you're amplifying your intelligence, when you're putting more and more of your mind into these things. That is not correct. You cannot rely on black boxes someone else has built with their own inherent biases, because the reality is all technology is biased because it needs to be built intentionally. The reality is we are all different in our contexts. And so we have a vision and a dream at Stability of an intelligent internet where every person, company, country, and culture has their own AIs. They have their own minds, because not your models, not your minds. And those work alongside the proprietary ones. It's a bit like the consultant versus the graduate. You hire from McKinsey versus one from a good school. I think that is the future working in unison. I think that is a promising future where, again, intelligence moves to the edge and expertise moves to the edge. So we have at our fingertips the things that we need to activate our potential. I think in this discussion, it needs to include the whole of civil society because this is an epochal change. The printing press allowed us to scale humanity, but it lost information. It couldn't capture context. It's hard to write, especially hard to write short. I write a bit too long. Maybe I speak a bit too long as well. With this technology, this entire speech can be captured and added to your memory base. In fact, it probably is now for some of you using Otter, Fireflies, Duet, and others. You'll never forget it because it will be there as your memex, as Vannevar Bush would kind of put it. That will become commonplace in the future. Again, much of this friction around sharing knowledge, ideas, and the important things will be removed. This isn't a dream, it's becoming a reality, because again, even if we stop today, the technology is there. And I think that is so empowering, and it will give that agency for people to believe that they can make a change. But I think we need to also be careful to set good standards around this, because a race is starting. I have gone on record as saying I think this will be the biggest bubble of all time. That's because this is infrastructure for humanity. This is the real information and knowledge superhighway. If we go back to information theory, information is valuable in as much as it changes state. If you guys take away nothing from this, then it's a bit of a waste of time. Clayton Christensen, the late great Harvard Business School professor, said that infrastructure is the most valuable mean by which the society stores and distributes value. Think about how our knowledge is stored and distributed right now. Think about the guardrails. Think about, for example, medicine. If you have a condition, autism, cancer, multiple sclerosis, and others, and many of you have loved ones, half of all of you here will have cancer one day, how do you find the information? You will feel fear, you will feel uncertainty, because it's not there at your fingertips. This is shameful. Think about our children and how they learn. What are they actually learning? Everyone believes that children are creative. Yeah, how many of you in this audience here believe that you are creative? Put up your hands. That's a good number, because I prompted you, right? Prompting is cool. My wife's been trying to prompt me for 17 years without much success, but I think she's getting there. Still not all of you, but all of you are creative because all of you can create. But we've been in this period of consumption. We've been in this period where we don't believe that our systems can be fixed. We've given up. Can you fix education? Can you fix healthcare? Can you fix government? You can. And this is the time for it. This is the new printing press moment. Because we can move intelligence to the edge and move expertise to the edge. We can scale people. And that means scaling your own capabilities by activating your potential, removing the barriers to having knowledge and for you to be able to communicate and create. It means scaling society as we build AIs that can coordinate all the knowledge. You should have all the climate knowledge at your fingertips, cancer knowledge at your fingertips. Be able to learn anything according to your context. That's all possible now because we're good enough, fast enough, and cheap enough already. And it's only going to get better. You will have GPT-4 level language models on your phone probably by the end of next year. You will have stable diffusion running even faster in image models and audio models within the next few years, guaranteed. I think in the next 5 years, there'll be no more programming as we know it. Why? Because programming is just talking to a computer. And guess what? AI can talk to computers better than you can talk to computers. Does that mean the entire industry goes? No, it changes. Just like there were so many Flash developers. This isn't about lowering the barriers to entry. It's about lifting the floor. It's about lifting all of us so we can achieve our potential and believe that we can create, believe that we have agency, believe we can do anything. Because again, everyone here, even if you don't have the capability, you can understand the capability, or you can gather other people with the capability to affect change. Especially at a time like this, when there is so much uncertainty and people want some answers. They want to have some guidance going forward. Because, as I mentioned, when you're thinking about the future and it's stable, you do a probability analysis and then you do a best expectations. When you're dealing with uncertainty, you minimize for maximum regret. You look at the options and you're like, which will I regret the least if I do? And so the natural thing is to say, let's stop this technology. The natural thing to do is say, let's trust the people who say they are at the top of this technology. But the history of humanity has never been like that. People spoke in fear against the printing press. They spoke in fear, which allowed us to take our stories. They spoke in fear against the internet, which took the stories and put them out, again, for good or ill. They spoke in fear about cryptography, which allowed us to have tight communication. 51 years and 1 day ago, the President John F. Kennedy gave a speech at Rice. It was about America going to the moon, or humanity going to the moon. He said some very interesting things in that speech. He talked about the fear of people saying, is this something we should do because it is uncertain? He talked about the fears as, why should we even do this? What is the point of doing this? And the answer he gave is that we can do this together because we can cooperate. Because we, as humans, explore the frontiers of our technology, and that is how we measure ourselves. We do not do it because it's easy, we do it because it's hard, and this is hard. There are societal impacts that reverberate to everything. There are technological complications that are ridiculous. Giant supercomputers, huge data, known knowns, known unknowns, as it were. But in doing this, we finally have the opportunity to solve humanity's greatest problems for the first time. Because in reality, there's only one problem that we have as humanity. And that is, we don't realize that we are all together. All wars are based on the lie that we are not all the same. Because we build from our stories, and that is the story that is told. Most of progress comes from open sharing of knowledge. It comes from the distillation. It comes from us organizing into a human colossus that can break the atom or go to the moon. Activating humanity's potential and creating the building blocks is the focus of stability to enable the dreams to become reality. And the way that we will do this, in my opinion, is through open innovation. It is not through restricting this technology and keeping it tight, because that isn't the reality that we have seen for our current infrastructure, the current means by which information is stored and distributed. The entire internet runs on open source. It runs on Linux, MySQL, and others. Our cryptography is open source that secures our privacy and our data. It is understandable that there is fear, but the big sister of fear is hope. You have fear when you lack agency. You look at the actors' strike in Hollywood, for example, right now. One of the key fears that has emerged from nothing has been, do I own my own rights? And the answer is, of course, you should own your own rights, and we should build systems towards that. Because you take away the agency of people. To those building AGI, if they achieve their goals, it's the end of democracy, because an AGI knows better and it can guide everything. And again, we should have that discussion there if that is your intention, because it affects us all. To give a practical example of this, at the end of last year, every teacher in the world had to ask the same question. How do I set homework for essays for homework? Imagine that, all at once, every teacher. Over the next year, every programmer will have to think, what is programming? Programming will change, because when I started programming 23 years ago, it was assembler, and then we just got Subversion. We didn't have GitHub and all of these things. In 5 years' time, even now, I've seen a 4-year-old code a video game using these code models. Because again, it can talk, it can prompt. These are very eager graduates. We will solve the problems that we have today, but by bringing this technology to the world, by making it so we can have this intelligent internet where every single person, company, country, and culture has access to this technology to amplify their capabilities, that is where we can share our dreams. That is where we can have safety. And that's where we have the strength, through diversity, rather than training on all of YouTube, and then the model, of course, comes out weird, and then we have to try and align it downstream. Creating AIs more capable than us in various fields that could potentially go out of control. You are what you eat. If you're training the graduates, train them well. Train them on the best output of humanity. Create standards around that and transparency if it's going to impact all our lives. Have open and have proprietary. It's fine having both. But realize that we can achieve so much with this technology if we work together. Realize that we can achieve so much with this technology if we build together, and we all have a say in how this is done. And we can all have a say in how this is done, because right now you can go and create. We had a music video competition with Peter Gabriel, kindly gave support. Check that out. People from Burma to Taiwan took the music videos and Stable Diffusion in our tools and created the most amazing things from that music. And now they can even create the music. Where are we going in the next few years? The ability to create anything, any movie and otherwise. Does that mean that we will all sit, like in WALL-E, the movie, with our VR headset, overweight, in our own personal worlds? I think not. I think it's because we love stories and we love coming together. People here have come together and you all have a common story. I think we can tell better stories of humanity that bring us together, but then have the support we need to navigate our lives better. I think that, again, we can build the systems to coordinate our knowledge, to coordinate our broken organizations and amplify them through this very human, resonant intelligence, but then also have the personal support that we need to best operate within those organizations to solve the world's largest problems. At Stability, we're a small part of that, but I think we've shown that you don't need to be a trillion-dollar company with stacks of PhDs, keeping this knowledge from everyone, keeping this technology from everyone to do this. I think it's shown that everyone has agency. And I think that will become more and more apparent, and that's how we should look at this technology and believe in this technology. I think that's what's going to enable the dreams, and I dream of a brighter future where together we solve the world's problems, and this is the time to do it. So I look forward to collaborating with everyone. I look forward to helping mitigate some of this chaos through the stability that we have. And I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this, for using our technology, for increasing it. And again, I think we all have a part to play. So AI for the people, by the people, and dream big. Thank you all.